Wild Artifact, and welcome to Wild Wednesdays. This is a series of videos showing tutorials, recipes, fun facts, knowledge, learning from people, anything. Basically a lot for the curious. So we're going to hopefully laugh a lot, probably make a ton of mistakes, misspeak a ton, and cry probably often. So come along with me and let's do something. Okay, let's talk supplies. No. You guys. Ashton's great idea. Never mind. Just never mind. Okay. Welcome to Cooking with Kat, and today we're going to learn how to make bread. Not sourdough like everyone else in the world is doing right now during quarantine, but a different kind that is super easy. So let's break some bread. So the history of the beer bread is very simple. My mom started making it after she didn't want to be messing with actually having to spend like 16 hours making bread. And it's also called bachelor bread because it's so easy. It's literally just a few ingredients and you can do it in under an hour. So let's go for it. First ingredients are flour, whole wheat flour, brown sugar, salt, baking powder, and beer. So what we're gonna do is measure out 1.5 cups of regular flour, and once again, I feel like I'm an emotional cook and baker, so I'm not exact, even though that is like faux pas for everything, baking wise. And I've already measured out 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour. Then we want to add about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I like to use sea salt or something that's a little bit more grainy because then you can kind of taste it more and it reacts a little bit more with the sugar. And then 1/3 cup of sugar. We can go for reals on this. 1/3 cup of sugar. And then 4.5 teaspoons of baking powder. All right, stir that puppy all together. You just want to get it so it mixes well. And then we can add our beer. So the reason that the beer bread works is that the yeast in the beer reacts with the sugar in the recipe and also the baking powder. So you'll see it start to bubble and everything, and that's the reaction. And that is what gives it the leavening agent that, similar to like a sourdough or like another bread, like usually it has to rise and all that. So this is almost like a quick rise. For this, I always use like a porter or stout. It adds like a depth of flavor that I feel like is really nice. Otherwise you can use any kind of beer. This is just the one that I prefer. And it calls for 8 ounces. I always use about probably 10. So I buy the bigger ones. You can use any brand. This is like $1 at Kroger, so it's fine. And I just kind of see how it feels. But you can see how it's like bubbling and stuff. And then you just stir. And since if you're measuring, then you've measured. If not, then you just keep going until it all comes together, but it's not too liquidy. Work on your biceps a little bit. I always use a wooden spoon. Maybe that's because of grandma and mom using a wooden spoon. Trust the process. Listen, everyone's making sourdough and it's amazing, but I have too many friends who make beautiful sourdough and I've never mastered it, so you can just let them have it, and then you can bring this over in literally a moment's notice when anyone asks you to come over and bring something, and they'll think you spent all day doing it. So then you'll want to preheat your oven to 350 while all this is happening. And then it's literally the easiest thing in the world. So I'm gonna grab my baking sheet here in a second, and we're just gonna plop it on and then go. Baking sheet. I'm sure you can probably put it in a loaf pan and it's fine. But I always do it in a circular shape and kind of spread it out and let it have some ridges and stuff. And then you'll have it be like about this size. Perfect. And then you'll bake it for 30 to 45 minutes in the oven at 350 and whip it out. 45 minutes later, it looks perfect. I made this last night, so it's fine. But yeah, no, it's really easy, and then you can serve it with the dipping oil we're about to show you how to make, and it is great. But it has a slight hint of brown sugar with the salt, and it's coarse, and it's everything you want to mop up anything in your life. All right, so now you can't bake bread or go someplace for Italian night without doing dipping oil. So I like two different kinds, regular with just straight up olive oil, and then the new Brightland, the spicy one. So it's chili oil, and it is packing a heat that is amazing, but not too strong, so you can definitely add like that Spanish flair for sure. So what I do is I just pour oil into a little wooden container, of course. Do that for both of them. And now you could leave it with just this. You could add balsamic vinegar to the regular one if you want. I usually add a little bit of like salt and pepper and chili flakes to the regular one. And then if you want any Italian seasonings or any other flavors like garlic and stuff, you can totally add that as well. But then that's so easy, and then people once again thought you spent like $1,000 doing something and so perfect. Go. Don't double dip though. Consists of very few ingredients, and as much as we want it to be organic and whole foodsy and whatever, it doesn't really matter where it comes from. But you want whole wheat flour, you want brown sugar, which I go for the dark brown sugar, seen here, from Kroger, so you can get after it. Baking powder, salt. I like using the Maldon sea salt, or you can use the sea salt from Trader Joe's, just something a little bit more like granular. And then obviously beer. So I use porters or stouts because I like the flavor a little bit more. These are like the dollar beers from Kroger. Once again, I'm not being sponsored by Kroger, but they're just easy to pick up, and but support your local breweries, support local artisans and everything in those ways, so also do that. And you can use any beer you really want, that's fine. And then for olive oil, I love using Brightland, their chili oil. It has a nice little kick, but it's not too crazy. And you can also add things to it. And then for the regular one, I just use like this cold pressed Mediterranean blend and add salt and pepper and red pepper flakes, and it makes a nice little something something. You can also have like garlic or oregano, Italian, anything like that. And then you'll need like measuring cups. These guys, vintage preferred, but if not, that's okay. You'll want to have some sort of glass measuring for the beer if you choose to do that, or you can eyeball it like me. And then spoons, measuring spoons.